The bottom is in. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson. Today's November 10th, and we did get some interesting news today. I mean, the markets are mind-bending, mind-twisting. It's pretty tough to keep up with what's been going on recently. But we got the news that U.S. consumer prices rose 7.7% in the year through October, slower than expected. So the CPI print came in cold, and it's a sign that inflation is beginning to go moderate. And what we're seeing right now is actually a downtick here in the 12-month percentage change of the CPI. So it seems like there could be a top in inflation here. It's possible. Now, as for the intro, is the bottom actually in? I don't know, right? I kind of just felt like making that video. I thought it was hilarious. And also, I want to mention that, whether it is the bottom or not, in a bear market, the goal is not to snipe the exact bottom, right? That is kind of an unrealistic goal, and it's also not important. The only thing that's actually important in a bear market is that you just survive it. If you can just survive the bear market, then you're okay, right? That's really the most important thing here. Just wanted to mention that. Bitcoin is actually back above 17,000 after hitting 15,500 yesterday. So we are seeing some support come in after one of the most wild rides in crypto history with the collapse of FTX. Now, looking at the long-term chart for Bitcoin, we are very far extended away from this downward sloping resistance line. And whenever we're in a position like this, historically, it is a great area of accumulation, right? Accumulating down at these lows when you're really far extended off that macro trend line. These are, I would say, great areas to accumulate. And we've been saying this on this channel for the past many weeks, many months, that nobody knows where the bottom's going to come in. There's so many unpredictable events. FTX is a pretty fat, organization to go down. I'm not sure what would be the next domino in line to fall that would be bigger than that. People are talking about Tether, but there's no real reason, I would say, to believe that Tether would go down right now. So, we can hope that FTX is the last domino in line to fall, and that now we're seeing inflation turn around, and the Fed may go for 50 basis points next time around and sort of do a little bit of a softening there. Just bring up the Fed funds rate here, and a lot of people sort of expect a U-turn like in 2018, how we had, a period of interest rates without any sustained levels at high levels, right? We never really sustained interest rates back in 2018. In 2019, they kind of just came right back down. But this time around, it's likely that the Fed is going to sustain interest rates at high levels and is likely not going to do a U-turn, right? They're not going to do a U-turn. They're likely just going to slow down and sustain interest rates at higher levels, which is still going to make it difficult for markets to see growth, right? Rather than zero rates, money's cheap. It's going to be difficult for markets to see sustained growth. So the bottoming process for Bitcoin here, are we at the bottom? Are we not? It's unclear, but it's probably going to take longer than usual, I would say, to bottom out and fully recover at this point. Most likely going to take longer than usual. But what I am seeing here is the US dollar index breaking below this support line. Look, check it out. We are actually falling below that. And this was the level we talked about on this channel. 109.30 was the key level for the US dollar index to fall below. We were talking about how every parabola creates a larger one. And it's possible that this is just another low inside of a larger parabola. It's possible, but seeing inflation find a top here, starting to tick down, and most likely the Fed is going to be sort of softening the rate hikes. Well, it seems like there is a possibility that now would be the time to find a bottom, or at least start to form one, right? I'm not going to say whether we've hit the lowest prices yet. Again, there's a lot of risk in this market right now. A lot of top crypto players have been doing some mischievous things with customer funds, and who knows what other booby traps are set in this market to implode next. It's just totally unpredictable. But this right here is actually the DXY breaking below 109.30 is the first time that we've seen the US dollar index break below the last major high on the chart. And so this does give merit to the idea that maybe people are going to start pivoting from cash to assets again. Maybe, right? We could see at least some temporary relief of some kind. And if you go back in time to 2015, essentially, if we compare this to Bitcoin, right, the US dollar index, and we'll just bring up the BLX, Brave New Liquid Index, Bitcoin began bottoming out. Remember, it still took like a year to actually bottom. But after the US dollar index came up off this huge parabolic run and began going sideways, right, breaking below that parabolic trend line like we're doing right now, that's when Bitcoin began to get at least stable, right? And then even while the US dollar index was hitting higher highs, right? Look, US dollar index literally hitting higher highs going up. Bitcoin's still moving up. Why? Because the US dollar index lost its momentum. And so essentially, it doesn't matter if the US dollar index is going to be sort of going sideways and up. As long as it loses its momentum, then we may actually start to see a real bottom formation come in. Again, it'll take probably a year before we really get bullish, but you do have time to accumulate. And if the US dollar index can just go sideways, that means that cash is flowing elsewhere. And with today's CPI print, well, maybe this will happen, right? Maybe we will finally get some stability, get some sideways action for once in this market, because it's just been down. I mean, guys, it's been straight down, right? Lower low after lower low, lower high after lower high. I mean, it's just straight down. So we still haven't actually gone sideways. We were attempting to go sideways, and then we had, a lot of, big players going bust. So what we need to see is essentially Bitcoin, whether we bottom here or not, look to go sideways into, April, May of next year, which is this. Actually, if we just mark up these lower highs, where does this come in? It comes in at about, March, April, May of next year, right? So that is kind of where this is sitting, about April. So Bitcoin has time to sort of set in a bottom, go sideways, get accumulated. Maybe we go lower later, who knows? But it's looking like we're in a position that maybe things can start to slow down in terms of the bearishness. Maybe we can start to get stable again, and maybe Bitcoin can start forming a bottom instead of just being in a downtrend. We'll see. I mean, this CPI print does give me a little bit more hope that these things are possible, but a lot of people just think that, inflation's peaked, the US dollar index is going down, we're just going to go straight to the moon. No, guys, I mean, just look at history. History shows us that, the US dollar index losing momentum is really only the first step in getting the bottom formation, right? It takes a long time for that bottom to form as people start pivoting from cash to assets. But eventually you start building back out. So I would say we have until, mid next year to go sideways, right? To go sideways to mid next year. And also this is the BLX, so the price is actually up here right now for Bitcoin. But you can never really be too sure about these things. We have reasons to believe that maybe Bitcoin might be starting to form a bottom here, but there's also so many different problems in the crypto industry. More liquidations can take place. The bottom might not be in, but if the US dollar index starts losing this momentum here and the Fed starts to do sort of a soft pivot where they just reduce they go for 50 basis points and then they sort of just maintain rates at high levels, that does give the potential for a bottom formation to come in. So that's how I see things right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.